These hens were once property of Wegmans food markets. We took this video just hours after we rescued them from the farm. One can only imagine what they are feeling in this new world outside of battery cages and manure pits. Maybe, after a life of neglect, they don't know what to feel. When we first entered Wegmans Egg Farm, we didn't expect to rescue any birds, but we came across some who were dying without food or water, and others who were in need of immediate veterinary care. And so a precious few came home with us. Though we tried our hardest to save every bird we brought out of the farm, some didn't even survive the ride home. Until we were there ourselves, we couldn't believe there could be a place like Wegmans Egg Farm. It's hard to understand what these rescue birds have been through, and what all the birds we left behind are going through right now. But hopefully, by showing people what these animals are forced to endure in egg farms across the country, we can work towards a solution, and perhaps get our message through to one company with the power to change.
We're going to get started by introducing the CEO for Wegmans, Mr. Robert Wegman.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you.
Hi, thank you.
Robert Wegman recently passed the torch of his 89-year-old company onto his son Danny, but not before making Wegmans one of the most successful private companies in the United States. It has expanded from its headquarters in Rochester, New York, to other parts of New York State and on to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and other areas near the East Coast. According to Fortune magazine's annual review, Wegmans is the best company to work for in America. It's rare for a grocery chain to achieve a top honor like this, but to people who know Wegmans, it's no surprise. The Wegmans company motto is, "Every day you get our best." Wegmans Egg Farm is one of the many projects that Robert has helped create. At the time it was built in 1967, it was considered the world's largest egg farm. Wegmans Egg Farm produces eggs for all its store locations, and currently has the capacity for 700,000 birds. Wegmans egg cartons carry an animal care certified logo, which implies that their chickens are well cared for. This logo was commissioned by the United Egg Producers, and is considered misleading by organizations such as the Better Business Bureau, which said that the egg industry should stop advertising its products as humane. We made it our goal to determine what Wegmans Egg Farm was really like inside. After we asked Wegmans for a tour, they tried to assure us that their chickens are well cared for. In their letter, they mentioned the Animal Care Certified program. They say that stress levels are measured to ensure that their chickens are content, and that a veterinarian is called if there is a problem. They denied us a tour to their farm, citing concern about the spread of disease. We sent them another letter and followed up with a phone call, asking if there was any way we can see these chickens for ourselves.
No one, including people within our own company, are permitted to go into the facility. It's strictly limited to people who must work in the facility.
Wegmans policy does not even allow the heads of the company to see how these hens are treated, let alone customers like us. Therefore, we decided to conduct multiple undercover investigations during 2004. The video that you are about to see documents our findings at Wegmans Egg Farm. The 700,000 hens at Wegmans Egg Farm live for approximately 1.5 years before they are sent to slaughter. In battery cages, hens do not have sufficient space to walk around or fully spread their wings. On our visits to Wegmans Egg Farm, we witnessed up to 9 hens living in a space as small as a filing cabinet. They are forced to live on a wire mesh floor and are unable to perch or stand on solid ground. The hens are so crowded that they sometimes stand on each other. These conditions do not preclude Wegmans from using the Animal Care Certified logo on their egg cartons. For each egg consumed by a Wegmans customer, a chicken has spent about 25 hours in these conditions. The cages of Wegmans Egg Farm are stacked 3 and 4 rows high. According to Wegmans' website, the chickens at Wegmans Egg Farm are caged for their own well-being. Although Wegmans states that chickens kept in cages are not in contact with manure, at Wegmans Egg Farm this is simply not the case. The hens in the lower rows live in the excrement of those above them. Crowded conditions can result in stress and aggression between birds. Most large-scale farms try to decrease pecking-induced mortality by cutting or burning off the tip of each chick's beak, as this footage shows. Wegmans is no exception, and uses a procedure like the one depicted here when the birds are 7 to 10 days old. John Gingerich, a representative of Wegmans Egg Farm, says that he sees little evidence that the bird suffers from this procedure. But we found some adult birds at Wegmans Egg Farm with severely trimmed beaks, and some with beaks that were completely malformed. Chickens with beaks like these have a hard time eating, and it is well known by the egg industry that some chickens will die due to starvation related to beak trimming.
Well, I think that the industry knows that Americans do care about the well-being of animals, and they're trying to adopt a humane sort of veneer on their products and to associate humane principles and values with their product. The problem is the reality and the rhetoric don't square. If an average American saw what was going on, they would say, well, I don't want any part of that. This product, obtained in this way, is not something that I feel comfortable with.
We started, looking through the rows, and it just takes a really long time to, just to get over the fact that there's just so many birds. You can't look at them in individuals at first because there's just so many. And we're thinking, well, I guess we don't see any corpses, we don't see any hens that are stuck, and maybe it's not as bad as we thought. But really there was just too many for us to even, start looking at them. And after a while, you're like, oh, well, there's corpses everywhere. Why didn't we see that when we first came in? It's just overwhelming.
If you have 700,000 hens, I can't imagine you can claim that you're ensuring that all of those hens have access to food and water, because some of those hens are going to get stuck. Something bad is going to happen, and if you only have a few dozen employees at your farm, and very few of those employees are responsible for taking care of these animals, there's no way that you can pay attention to the welfare of these animals.
We're in shed number 14 at the Wegmans Egg Farm. We found a hen here who has her head wound around the bars of her cage. So we're just going to try to remove her and offer her some water.